they need more pieces around Dak. I don't see Dak as the type of quarterback that can just put a team on his back. I mean, he had some guarded stats this past year, but it didn't necessarily translate. The defense wasn't as good this past year. Obviously, we saw the effect that Amari Cooper had when he came over in the trade. So making sure you have a number one wide receiver for Dak is paramount, but they got to fix the defensive side of the football as well. This team, to me, is still going to be a run-centric type team, just the way that it's built and how they paid Zeke Elliott. But they got to fix the defensive side of football. I think that's how you bring out the best in Dak Prescott.
Ryan, it's a new head coach this offseason. Heck, a new coaching staff basically entirely in Dallas. Mike McCarthy, offensive mind, has worked really well with someone like, Aaron Rodgers. What's the area that he needs to take Dak Prescott to the next level at that will allow Dak to become a franchise quarterback that maybe can carry the rest of the roster?
Well, I think you know what you've got there. He's shown it to you for the last 4 seasons, right? You talked about, Damien talked about the defense and the lack of it, and they're maybe worrying about the budget part of this, right? If we pay Dak Prescott this much money and set it up that far down the line, maybe we can't build that defense. You watched the Todd Gurley scenario where they built for 1 season to win a Super Bowl, and then they didn't win it, and now they're breaking off into pieces a little bit. You got to think about those things, and that's why franchise tagging him may be the right choice to build the defense that gives them the opportunity to maybe go give Amari Cooper a free agent deal and keep him there to make this team a contender, because I think they have what it takes. They have to improve defensively, but Dak Prescott has shown you he's the guy. You got to go pay him when you have the ability to, and guess what? You have something really special. You can hold him with that franchise tag for 2 more years without having to pay a long-term contract.
There's always something going on in Dallas. And from the Cowboys to another NFC East, acquiring tackle Russell Okung, of course, the trade cannot be made official until 4 p.m. on March 18th, which is the start of the NFL's new league year. According to ESPN's pass block win rate using NFL's next-gen stats, the Panthers held their blocks for 2.5 seconds. Only 50% of the time. That was the 3rd worst in the NFL last season. Yikes. They allowed 58 sacks, which was tied for the most in the league. Now, while there's been plenty of speculation that the Panthers are pondering a rebuild of sorts this offseason, does a trade for a left tackle in his 30s suggest to you, Ryan, that maybe Carolina believes they're closer to competing than the general football consensus does?
I would think that they want what they need, and that's somebody to protect Cam Newton if he's going to come back and play. And so a left tackle will do that for them. But for the most part, is this something that they're trying to let everybody know that we're not necessarily too interested in competing that greatly, but Trevor Lawrence is sitting out there a year from now, right? And that's a quarterback opportunity. You got to protect him from that side. It's a little interesting to see where they're going to go with Matt Rule in this, but they have great players on that team. They have so many great players on the team, and you just can't go to somebody like that and say, hey, we want to go in this direction. Guys are going to be out there competing every week like they want to win games.
Certainly reuniting with his offensive line coach, Pat Meyer in Carolina, part of the equation for Okung. But Damien, 26 years old, is Trey Turner, 5-time Pro Bowler, whether you believe in the merits of a Pro Bowl selection or not. Does this feel like an upgrade for the Panthers, or does this feel like maybe selling low on a pretty good player in Trey Turner?
I think it's selling low. I mean, how many, people underestimate how important a position that is to have the interior of your offensive line locked up. Regardless if it's Cam Newton back there or some other quarterback, to be able to solidify the middle of the offensive line is a tremendous asset. And you trade away one of the best guards in the National Football League, who's young, who you might say that is just now entering his prime. So, when I saw this whole thing go down, I just started scratching my head and just trying to think, okay, how is this really benefiting the Carolina Panthers? Because I think they're picking it in the top 10, which would give them opportunity to draft probably one of the top tackles coming out in the draft this year. So this was a little bit of a head scratcher for me.
Say the Chargers, if they don't go quarterback at pick 6, could certainly benefit with a new left tackle. But Rob, maybe the Panthers trying to tell us that they are closer. As I was asking Ryan, do you think that if Cam Newton is healthy, Carolina is even equipped to push for a playoff spot this year?
That's a tough sell. That's a tough sell for me. Watching Cam last year before he had his injury, I thought that he was struggling down the stretch because of the fact that he's had so many injuries. He's had a couple shoulder surgeries, which as a quarterback who's a mobile quarterback, to have a couple shoulder surgeries and have a foot problem and not be as mobile as he was in the past. Plus you add up all the damage that he has taken over the years. He's taken a lot of hits now. So he needs to change his game. He cannot be a guy that's scrambling and diving for first downs and diving for touchdowns, which was his game. You know, open it up, Superman, right? But he can't do that now. If he continues to do that, he's going to continue to get beat up, and he's going to feel the effects of that. And going back to the trade, you know, I think the Chargers won this trade. 4 years from now, what's Okung going to be? 35?
Yeah.
Is he going to be playing football? You know, Turner possibly he'll still be playing football. He'll still be in his prime as an offensive lineman, interior lineman, can play, you know, 32, 33. You know, that's still old for a lineman or for a football player. So, you know, I think that trade was kind of silly. You know, I think didn't make sense to me. I wouldn't have done that trade. But looking at Cam, I think that he definitely has to look at his game, evaluate his game. It's going to have to change because of the fact that he has been beat up and he hasn't been able to get to his old form. You don't see a lot
of old running quarterbacks.
That's certainly
you do not. And you have to be accurate, and you have to be able to throw the ball down the field. And does Cam Newton have the arm strength and the accuracy to be a pocket quarterback?
One of the many questions we'll ask about Carolina. But remember, patience is on their side. Matt Rule, their new head coach, has a 7-year contract and a track record of building programs up. Now, of course, that took place at the college level.
I love playing football. I'm just taking it day by day.
We don't know if they're the final seconds in the Patriots' career of Tom Brady.
Intercepted and returned for a touchdown, Titans!
That's a tough one for Tom.
Is there any possibility that you would retire?
I would say it's pretty unlikely.
Brady is going to be a free agent.
I'm open-minded about the process.
What are the chances he plays somewhere other than Foxborough?
It is the question of this NFL offseason.
The great part for me is I don't know.
To Tom, it's about winning the next championship.
I don't think there's any chance he goes back to New England.
I don't see any way he plays anywhere else.
Vegas?
We've got our own Patriots on set with us today to discuss his latest public comments. Hello and welcome to NFL Live. I'm Field Yates alongside those two former Patriots, Rob Ninkovich and also Damien Woody, plus our guest analyst for the day, Ryan Leaf. Great to have you and your unique perspective on all things, including the quarterbacks we'll get into. And it's another day, another twist, sort of, in the Tom Brady destination decision. We move from lip reading at a basketball game to actually hearing Brady speak to UFC President Dana White, of course. I mean, who else? White was giving Brady the hard sell to choose Las Vegas in free agency, and here's what Tom Brady had to say.
I know it's been a lot of patience for me, and obviously being where I've been for 20 years, it's been an amazing experience, and I don't know what the future holds right now. I'm just trying to be patient through this process, my first time going through it. And in the meantime, I'm going to spend a lot of time with my family over the next 10, 12 days, and we got a little vacation plan, which I'm looking forward to.
All right, Adam Schefter added this perspective on Twitter. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have spoken recently, but those talks were not yesterday, meaning Tuesday, and the tone of their discussion was business as usual per source. Still many questions left to answer. So, Rob, I'll begin with you. From the comments that were made from Tom Brady to Dana White, just speaking generally, what did you make of what he had to say on Instagram Live, one of your favorite places to spend some time?
Well, you know, like he said, like Tom said, he's never been through this process, so this is a learning process for him as well. But look, Dana White probably has some alternative motive as well because he's with the UFC. They're out of Vegas. I think Tom has some partnerships with the UFC as well. But look, when you're approaching free agency, Tom's going on vacation. He's probably trying to get himself removed from the situation and let his agent do a lot of the speaking for him. Because at this point, what can he do? What can Tom do? He's just going to sit back and see what teams are interested, see what numbers are thrown at him, see what different situations are brought to him. And I'm sure he's kind of enjoying the situation. He's never been a free agent in his whole career. So I take it he's enjoying it a little bit. You know, you got Julian Edelman selling T-shirts. Vote, you know, Tom come back T-shirts. I'm sure Tom's getting a little piece of that. So, look, this is uncharted territory for Tom Brady and the Patriots. So it's a little odd. It's weird to see this going down. And, you know, unlike other teams like the Saints and Drew Brees, where they specifically said and put it out there, like, this is our quarterback. Moving forward, we're going to do whatever we can to get him back. And even Drew Brees said that. This is a little different situation. I think, you know, from day one, I thought that he was going to try and explore other options, and I think that's going to happen.
I want to get your perspective, Damien, on negotiating business as usual with Bill Belichick. You've been at that table before, but regardless of where you were prior to Brady's comments,